आपल्या अंजनी फाउंडेशनच्या बाबतीमध्ये खरोखरी म्हणजे सगळ्यात जास्त मी अट्रॅक्ट त्या दृष्टीने झालो. बाकीचे आपलं करिअर फार मोठं आहे, फार मोठं म्हणजे आकाश समुद्र आहे. परंतु अंजनी फाउंडेशन जे आपण स्थापन केलं हेच त्याच्या सर्वात मोठं आहे.
हो, धन्यवाद.
ओम नमः शिवाय. ओम नमः शिवाय सर.
आमच्या आईची इच्छा होती.
आईची तेव्हा हिस्ट्री बघितली की वयाच्या 6व्या वर्षी माशेल गावामधून गोव्याच्या आपल्याला त्यांनी मुंबईला आणलं आणि त्यांनी जे पालन पोषण केलं त्याची तुम्ही केवढी मोठी पावती त्यांना दिलेली आहे की खरोखरी म्हणजे माझ्या डोळ्यात मी जेव्हा ते संपूर्ण तुमचं वाचत होतो खरोखरी डोळ्यात पाणी आलं की मातृदेवो भव आपण नुसतं म्हणतो तोंडाने, ते खऱ्या अर्थाने त्याचं सार्थक करण्याचं काम सर आपण केलेलं आहे. आणि खरोखरी त्याला त्यांनी जोड तुम्ही त्याची आपल्या टोटल म्हणजे समाजासाठी दिलेली आहे. जे कोणी नवीन इनोव्हेशन्स वगैरे करतात त्या दृष्टीने आपण त्यांना प्रोत्साहन देण्यासाठी हे फाउंडेशन केलंय आणि त्यांना आर्थिकदृष्ट्या सुद्धा तुम्ही जी मदत करता खरोखरी म्हणजे समाज आणि मी देखील या बाबतीमध्ये खूप आपला ऋणी आहे की आपण फार मोठं सहकार्य करतात. शाहू महाराजांचं जे आमचं तत्व आहे जे आम्ही इकडे या संस्थेमध्ये फॉलो करतो त्या अनुषंगाने तुमचं हे कार्य मला दिसलंय. खरोखरी माझी खूप प्रांजळ इच्छा आहे की शाहू महाराजांबरोबर आपला एक कार्यक्रम लाईव्ह कार्यक्रम आपल्या संस्थेमध्ये आपला व्हावा आणि त्यासाठी आपण जरूर यावं. म्हणजे जी काही त्यांनी एक समाजासाठी केलेली कार्यशैली आहे. एक छोटं उदाहरण द्यायचं सर तुम्हाला झालं तर त्यांनी कोल्हापूर ऍक्ट जो बनवला स्वातंत्र्यापूर्वी कोल्हापूर ऍक्ट त्यांनी बनवला त्याला आता 100 वर्षहून जास्त झालेली आहेत. तेव्हा त्यांनी सर्व शेतकऱ्यांच्या मुलांना पहिलीचं शिक्षण हे कंपल्सरी केलं, कायदेशीर केलं. मुलगा असो किंवा मुलगी असो त्यांना शिक्षण हे पहिलीचं कंपल्सरी केलं. तरी शेतकरी त्या मुलांना शेतावरनं कामाच्या ह्याच्यातून शाळेत पाठवत नसत. मग त्यांनी दंडात्मक कार्यवाही त्याच्यावरती आकारली. म्हणजे पास द लॉ ऑन दॅट पर्टिक्युलर इश्यू की जो मुलगा किंवा मुलगी पहिलीच्या शाळेमध्ये येणार नाही त्यांना एक तेव्हाचा काहीतरी 1 आणा हा दंड त्यांनी जाहीर केला. शाळेत नाही आलं तर त्या पालकांना 1 आणा दंड पडेल. आता त्याच्यानंतर त्यांच्या लक्षात आलं की कोल्हापुरामध्ये ही जी मुलं आता बाहेरच्या आसपासच्या गावात येतात तर त्यांना येणं आणि जाण्यामधला जो वेळ जातोय त्यासाठी त्यांनी वेगवेगळ्या प्रकारची हॉस्टेल्स तिथं केली सर. तिथे प्रत्येक समाजासाठी अगदी खालच्या तळागाळातल्या म्हणजे जैन समाज, मुस्लिम समाज, हिंदू समाज, ब्राह्मण समाज अशा प्रत्येकाची वेगवेगळी हॉस्टेल्स आज तागायत तिथं चालू आहे. हा कन्सेप्ट त्यांनी आणला. पण त्या कन्सेप्टनी त्यांनी सगळ्या मुलांना तिथे हॉस्टेललाच ठेवलं आणि हे जे जाती धर्म आणि हे सगळ्या ज्या गोष्टी आहेत त्या सगळ्या त्यांनी 100 वर्षापूर्वी बाजूला साधल्या.
जगाच्या पुढे होते.
मला वाटतं तो वेळ झालेला आहे. इव्हन डॉक्टर आंबेडकरांना त्यांनी बॅरिस्टर होण्यासाठी जी मदत केली ती खरोखरी मोठी आहे, अमूल्य. सर आपण डेफिनेटली आम्हाला वेळ द्यावा एकदा आमच्या पाय लागावे ही आमची माझी विनंती आहे सर. ओम नमः शिवाय सर. थँक्यू.
नक्की.
Sir, good morning.
Good morning.
I am working with TCS and also secretary of IEEE Pune section and have long association with academia. In fact, academia is like very close to my heart and that's the reason I am here and looking forward to listen to you, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Very good morning and warm welcome to one and all. On behalf of All India Sri Shivaji Memorial Society, Institute of Information Technology, I, Dr. Suresh Limkar, Organizing Chair of ESCI 2021, take this privilege to welcome you all for the inaugural function of 3rd IEEE International Conference on Emerging Smart Computing and Informatics, ESCI 2021, technically co-sponsored by IEEE Pune section and IEEE section's Signal Processing Society chapter. along with conference academic partners, Athlon Institute of Technology, Ireland, Special Innovation Research Group, Egypt, and Muscat College, Sultanate of Oman. It is our tradition to invoke Goddess Saraswati at the beginning of every auspicious occasion. So let us begin the function with Saraswati Stavan. I request all the dignitaries on the dais to proceed for the lighting of the lamp.
हे शारदे मां, हे शारदे मां, हे शारदे मां, हे शारदे मां, अज्ञानता से हमें तार दे मां। हे शारदे मां, हे शारदे मां, अज्ञानता से हमें तार दे मां। तू स्वर की देवी, संगीत तुझसे, तू स्वर की देवी, संगीत तुझसे, हर शब्द तेरा है, हर गीत तुझसे, हर शब्द तेरा है, हर गीत तुझसे। हम हैं अकेले, हम हैं अधूरे, हम हैं अकेले, हम हैं अधूरे, तेरी शरण हमें तार दे मां, तेरी शरण हमें तार दे मां। हे शारदे मां, हे शारदे मां, हे शारदे मां, हे शारदे मां, अज्ञानता से हमें तार दे मां। हे शारदे मां, हे शारदे मां, अज्ञानता से हमें तार दे मां।
अमर सर नमस्कार.
Good morning, sir.
गुड मॉर्निंग.
Good.
Now I request Honorable Sri Suresh Pratap Shinde, Joint Secretary, AISSMS, to felicitate Dr. Raghunath Mashelkar, sir, Chief Guest of the Inaugural Function. I request Mr. Girish Khilari, President, IEEE Pune Section, to accept our felicitation on behalf of Dr. Raghunath Mashelkar, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Mane to felicitate Honorable Sri Suresh Pratap Shinde, Joint Secretary, AISSMS. I request Dr. P.P. Mane to felicitate Mr. Girish Khilari. I request Dr. P.P. Mane to felicitate Mr. Jagdish Chaudhary. I request Dr. P.P. Mane to felicitate Dr. Neha Sharma. I request Dr. P.V. Mane to felicitate Mr. Chetan Aher, Publicity Chair, ESCI 2021. Because of his tireless efforts, we were able to receive more than 700 research articles for this conference. Thank you, sir. Due to some last-minute technical glitch, Honorable Sri Maloji Raje Chhatrapati, Secretary AISSMS, couldn't able to join this event, but he has forwarded his message. I request Sri Suresh Pratap Shinde, Joint Secretary AISSMS, to convey his message.
On behalf of our Honorable Secretary Maloji Raje Chhatrapati, I am Suresh, conveying his thoughts to you all. Well, it is actually an extension of second IEEE extension of second. You know, now it is a third conference what we are attending now of IEEE. Subject was same about smart computing and informatics. When we say smart computing, it is an integrated, developed hardware, then software, network, and application of this to the real time for the real world. Yes, we all are aware the word smart. Yes, all are smart here in front of me. You know smartphone, you know smart house, you know smart offices. What does this smart means? Smart is nothing but a smart computing in that particular field and achieve the goal and what actually the people require in this real world. I've heard somewhere about the 5S, 5A, 5A's. Awareness, analytics, then activity, then ability, and auditing. These 5A's, maybe somewhere wrong in between, but these 5A's are applicable for this smart computing. Now the world is going far, far fast in this coming decade. We have already seen the electrical vehicles on the road. We have already seen so many other activities which are making our life ease and well. Definitely, AISSMS is also aware of all these things, and the engineers, researchers who are actually attending this particular course, particular IEEE sponsored conference, definitely they are going to gain so many things in particular in this way. This is a 3 days conference what we are having here today. First of all, I thank Mr. Kilari and Dr. Raghunath also. You know, they are going to guide us and motivate us, particularly in this field. President IEEE, I'm very much thankful to you giving this such a good type of program and sponsored it to given it a scope to have it in our AISSMS esteemed premises. Definitely, the credit goes to Dr. Mane, P.V. Mane sir also. He's always taking great efforts for IEEE. I have seen all the time. This particular platform is working on all the angles. I have heard about one program earlier that what they had in this is, that is affordable, sustainable farming, agriculture. Really, they have done a great job. I'm a farmer. I know the difficulties what the actual farmer face on the field. You know, around 4 kilometers, my worker used to go and start the pump, which is just near to the adjacent to the river. You know, but now sitting at Pune in a luxurious owned area, I can start my pump and he can have the water. Anywhere in the world, I can see what is the status of my pump. Why? How it has happened? Networking from 2G to 4G we have come now again forward we are going. And these people, they have done, just now sir was telling me about the mushrooms. They have developed the mushrooms also. Even cattle fodders they have developed. They have made some ponds here. And it is not a non-technical activity actually you can say, but it is a requirement of the today's farmer, today's people who are actually suffering from all these particular activities. Sir, super competing, smart competing, whatever we are saying, these are the really big words for man like me. I'm also engineer, passed out in 76, but still they are very, I find it a burden on my head. But real problems and going to the problems, sometimes you don't require the integrated systems also, small things, and the problem and the situation is getting smoother. So definitely we have 3 days program, and this our team, the selection what Mr. Kilari and Dr. Mane have done, definitely they are good speakers. I'm confident about it, and they are going to gain good knowledge in this particular subject. Thank you very much on behalf of Sri Maloji Raji Chhatrapati once again, and even our ASSM Society once again. I welcome Dr. Mashalkar sir, Hilary sir, all participants, and the member of IEEE who have now joined online because we cannot do it offline. So welcome all of you. Thank you very much. Om Namah Shivaya.
Thank you, sir, for your constant encouragement and support for all the activities for imparting quality education. I now invite Sir Girish Khilari to give an introductory remark.
Good morning, everybody. All the dignitaries on the dais, of the dais, and those who are online. It is an honor to share the stage dais with Mashelkar sir. I remember exactly 1 year ago, I attended the ESCI 2020, and lockdown was imposed right after that. The entire year was challenging for everybody. The entire credit to Mane sir and his team that in spite of many restrictions and limitations due to the pandemic, they are organizing this virtual international conference. Since this is an IEEE conference and as an office bearer of Pune section, it is my duty to highlight some of the key words that we all must remember while conducting any activities in IEEE. So as we all know, IEEE is the world's largest technical professional organization dedicated to advancing technology for the benefit of humanity. Core purpose is to foster technological innovation and excellence for the benefit of humanity. Essential to the global technical community and to technical professionals everywhere, and be universally recognized for the contributions of technology and of technical professionals in improving global conditions. Trust, global community building, integrity in action, service to humanity, partnership, growth, and nurturing are some of the core values. IEEE will drive innovation through the broad collaboration and sharing of knowledge. Hence, public understanding of engineering and technology, and pursue standards for their practical application. Be a trusted source of educational services and resources to support lifelong learning, provide opportunities for career and professional development, and we all witnessing that how career and professional development happens if you once you start working in IEEE team. Inspire a worldwide audience by building communities that advance technical interest, inform public policy, and expand knowledge for the benefit of humanity. Foster a collaboration environment that is open, inclusive, free of bias, and will continue to sustain the strength, reach, and vitality of our organization for future generations. To illustrate all the above sentences, let me take an example. Ranjit Singh Bisley, we all know, okay, who recently received Nobel Prize for teaching, and it's a global teacher prize. His work of adding QR codes to primary category books so that his students can get links to audio poems, video lectures, assignments, and stories. His idea was adopted by National Council of Education, Research, and Training. So we as an institute proven ourselves that conducting international conferences is no big deal anymore. It is now time to raise our bar and focus on some of the key words I mentioned, like benefit of humanity, improving global conditions, service to humanity, enhance public understanding by involving ourselves in defining standards. So from next time, we can think about bringing the change while organizing such conferences. We should focus on inputs for the conferences, activities, outputs, outcomes, and impact that brings with conducting such conferences. To monitor output and outcome, we all know, we all engineers and working in institute for so many years. So to monitor output and outcome, make sure to define relevant metrics and track results over time. Wherever possible, we should include stakeholders' data such as demographics and surveys to capture their feedback. So a very famous saying of Simon Sinek is a famous author, American author. So he says, people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And what you do simply proves what you believe. Start with why. Why you do what you do? What exactly is it that you do? How do you do it? For whom do you do it? With anyone else? Where do you do it? For how long? So what? Another famous saying of Simon is, when people are financially invested, they want a return. When people are emotionally invested, they want to contribute. So let us start small and implement local, dream big and go global. Once again, thank you, organizing committee, for inviting me. I wish every success and knowledge treat for the next 3 days for everybody involved. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I request all the dignitaries to proceed for unveiling of the conference of abstract. I would like to give some brief highlights about the conference. This is the extension of our last conference, ESCI 2020. We have received a total 706 papers. We have applied 3 peer review system. After rigorous three peer review, we were able to select 196 papers. Out of that, total 156 papers were registered. So among the registered papers, we have a few papers from IITs, NITs, and few from the eminent institutes across the globe. We have 28% as an acceptance ratio of the conference. So it is a great pleasure for me to introduce and welcome our chief guest, Dr. Raghunath Mashelkar, sir. Dr. Raghunath Mashelkar is a national research professor and has been the Director General of Council of Scientific and Industrial Research, Chairman of National Innovation Foundation, and also the President of Indian National Science Academy, Global Research Alliance, and Institute of Chemical Engineers, UK. In recognition of his pioneering research contribution in polymer science and engineering, he has been honored as a Fellow of Royal Society, Foreign Fellow of US National Academy of Science as also Engineering, Foreign Associate of American Academy of Arts and Science, and Fellow of US National Academy of Inventors. 44 universities from around the world have honored him with honorary doctorates. He is the recipient of 60 plus awards, which include the prestigious TWAS Lenovo Science Prize, the highest science prize by the World Academy of Science, Business Week USA Award of Star of Asia at the hands of George Bush Sr. and JRD Tata Corporate Leadership Award, the only scientist to win it so far in 3 decades. Dr. Mashelkar has been on the board of directors of India's most reputed companies, which include Reliance Industries Limited, to Tata Motors Limited, to Hindustan Unilever Limited. Dr. Mashelkar, who was a member of the Scientific Advisory Council to the Prime Minister for over 30 years, has been honored with Padma Shri, Padmavibhushan, and Padmavibhushan, 3 of the highest civilian honors. Today, we are privileged to have an opportunity to listen to him this morning. On behalf of all gathered here, I welcome you, sir, to this ESCI 2021 conference. Now I request our chief guest, Dr. Mashelkar, sir, to address the gathering.
Thank you very much. Let me share the screen. Thank you very much. I want to thank...
Sir, it's not audible.
I can hear you, sir. Sir, can
you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now we can hear you.
Yeah, go ahead, sir.
Yeah. Can you see the presentation?
Yes, we can see.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. First of all, I would like to thank my very dear friend Raghunath Mashalkar to make this invitation possible. I want to sincerely thank All India Sri Shivaji Memorial Society, great educational institutions which began its journey in 1917 and has dedicated itself to the great cause of science. Want to thank IEEE, another great organization. I feel particularly privileged that today we are connecting with an institution which was founded by none other than Chhatrapati Shahu Maharaj of Kolhapur. I have the highest respect for him, for he was a pioneer. He was ahead of the rest of the world. I remember 26 June 2017, I was in Kolhapur when the Rajarshi Shahu Chhatrapati Memorial Trust were gracious enough to give me the Rajarshi Shahu Puraskar. And at that time, I remember giving a long talk in terms of how he was ahead of the rest of the world in terms of education, understanding the importance of education as education being our future. Today, I mean, the government of India started this right to education much after he had done it when he made education compulsory for young students of the farmers. So I pay my respects to the most revered Chhatrapati Shahu Maharaj and begin my talk. The title of the talk, as you can see, is The Magic of Achieving High Aspirations with Assured Innovation Success. I always tell young people that aspirations are your possibilities. Keep them high. If you aim at Everest, at least you will reach Kanchenjunga. But if you aim at Kanchenjunga, you may not even reach Hanuman Tekdi. And if you aim at Hanuman Tekdi, you will be where you are. So I think it is important for India to keep its aspirations high. Then there is a key word here, innovation. I have always said that I in India must stand for innovation. It should not stand for inhibition. It should not stand for imitation. Right? And therefore, how do we ensure that when we do an innovation, how do we move from idea to impact? How do we move from mind to marketplace? How do we make a difference to the society? And how do you make sure that there is an assured success when you do that? So the substance of my lecture is keeping your aspirations high and ensuring success to innovation that will be sort of radical transformation leading as far as the society is concerned, the nation is concerned. I have this book, Leapfrogging to Pole Vaulting, which was released in 2019. And here is what Ratan Tata has to say. It says that this captivating book, through its impressive assured innovation framework, shows the way forward for achieving this daunting task. And it is this impressive assured innovation framework that he refers to that I'm going to focus my talk on. And we're very lucky that in 2019 itself, we received this Best Book, Business Book of the Year Award in the Tata Literature Live Festival. You can see my very dear colleague Ravi Pandit, with whom I have shared this particular book. So what is it that people liked about the book? What was the message? And that's what I want to communicate to you. You know, we have to make a paradigm shift in our innovation strategy. India has been a follower. If you ask me to list the kind of breakthrough that we had, let's say in the 20th century, which made the difference to the whole world, one can hardly count any. Original one. I'm talking about original one, not copied from the rest of the world. From there, we became fast following. Of course, we are the great at following. Supposing somebody created a generic drug somewhere, a new drug, we'll copy it within 18 months. And we became famous for our generic drug industry. And we saved lots of lives. That is true. And we are fast following. We could do it in 18 months. But from there, we have to lead, and we have to lead, but also leapfrog. Okay? Jump over. And the thesis I'm going to give you is that leapfrogging is not good enough. We must pole vault. म्हणजे बेडूक उडी नव्हे, हनुमान उडी हा त्यातला मुख्य मुद्दा आहे. आणि that is what I'm going to convey to you in this lecture. Now, what is the characteristics and impact of pole vaulting innovation? First of all, what you are saying fundamentally is that why does the frog leap? He leaps because he is afraid of his predator. How much does he jump? A few feet. Should we be doing that? We should be pole vaulting. The size of the pole determines the size of our aspiration and how far you can go. So pole vaulting kind of innovation will bring in revolution, not just some renovation. It will be new to the world, not just new to the company or country. All right, we are very fond of saying first to Shukravarpet, first to Pune, first to Maharashtra, first to India. No, it has to be first to the world. Unprecedented cost performance features, not just marginal cost. Entirely new products and services, not just tinkering with the existing. And finally, I'm not a great believer in best practice. I'm a believer in next practice. Because when you say I'm following the best practice you are following, you have to create the next practice, which becomes the best practice for others. That should be our aspiration. I remember this, I'm going to mention about Reliance because there are some interesting lessons from this particular company, which was started by Dhirubhai Ambani as a petrol pump attendant in Eden. And today, not just the biggest company in the world, but now it is figuring in the top 50 Fortune 500 companies. So this was pole vaulting. And therefore, I'm going to take an example just to illustrate the point. I could have taken any other example, but this is the most powerful, I thought. So there is a Reliance Innovation Council, of which I have been the chairman. And at its inauguration, I remember meeting Mukesh, and because in fact, they always say that growth is life and innovation is a way of life. So innovation-led growth is what we have to do. And I remember Mukesh saying, we must leapfrog. And I said, no, not leapfrog, we must pole vault. And as I said, the size of the pole is the size of aspiration. So we created what is called as a program to create such leaders, pole vaulting innovation leaders. It was called Beyonders. An idea was to create 100 innovation leaders who will pole vault and not just leapfrog. And what one did was to give them massive opportunities through growth initiatives. We showed to them that you must set unreasonable goals, which look impossible, and make them possible. You have to challenge the conventional wisdom. It is very easy to get extraordinary things from extraordinary people. Can you get ordinary people to do extraordinary things? You must suffer from divine discontent. Never be happy with what you achieve. Good. And you must convert adversity into an opportunity and create exponential value. And then you would say, can you show us some examples of that pole vault that these leaders created? Look at mobile data transmission, for example, in million GB per month. Where was India? Here. Where was the rest of the world? Here. And what happened is a pole vault. To what? To from 155th position to the first position. So it was not a leapfrog from 155th position to 150th position or 100th position. It was to the top. And how did we do it? It was doing it at a kind of speed, at a kind of scale that was unheard of. If you look at the years to reach 50 million users, telephone took 50 years, mobile took 12 years, YouTube took 4 years, Facebook 3 years, and Twitter 2 years. And we all wrote stories, right, on how they achieved it. Now you have to write the new story because Reliance created a world record of doing it in 83 days. And there was a lot of innovation that was involved. I won't have time to sort of talk about. So that was the speed. And then change the game. So if you see before Jio, after Jio, the 4G VoLTE phone was $300. It was brought down to $23. Data per GB cost is cheapest in the world today. and vice expenditure is close to zero. We used to take pride in missed call. Missed call is jugaad. Missed call, you are not paying, somebody else is paying. Okay? But the cost to you is zero. Now, the cost to you is zero and you are not cheating at all. You can do it as a legitimate business model. Now, while jumping in this particular sort of fashion and pole vaulting, the obvious question that comes up, and that is what when we wrote that particular book, by the way, this is the book, that leapfrogging to sort of pole vaulting. So when we were writing that, Ravi and I, somebody asked me, he said, how do you make sure that you don't break your back when you pole vault? How do you make sure that your success is assured? And that is where we created this framework. It is called Assured Total Innovation Framework. And the first is affordable. Second is scalable. Third is sustainable. Fourth is universal or user-friendly. Fifth is rapid. Sixth is excellent. And seventh is distinctive. So any innovation that you do, you must see whether it meets these criteria. Okay? And if you find that one or two of these are missing, you are bound to fail over a period of time. Let me illustrate that. For example, when we talk about Jio, is it affordable? Yes. It's the cheapest in the world. Is it scalable? Yes. There are 400 million customers now. Is it sustainable? Yes. It's making good profits as well as doing good for the people. Is it user-friendly? Yes. You can see there is a lady from a slum as well as a very sophisticated lady, perhaps driving a Mercedes. Both of them are using that. Is it rapid? Yes. You saw how they jumped in 83 days. Is it excellent? Yes. It is 4G LTE, the best technology that was available. Is it distinctive? Yes, of course it is distinctive. So you can quite clearly see this assured matrix is fulfilled here. But I must also say that you are fully assured not when you do technology innovation. It has to be backed up with a business model innovation, system delivery innovation, workflow innovation, process innovation, organization innovation, and policy innovation. Many times India has done great technological innovation because policy innovation was missing. We missed out, right? But many times there is a technological innovation which somebody else has done and we did policy innovation and we jumped. For example, you can see what has happened in LED, light emitting diodes. It was not our technology. It was somebody else's technology. Okay. This year it got the Queen Elizabeth Prize of Engineering, as you know. It's a £1 million prize at Koti. Okay. I have been a jury on that and it was selected among the best because it has created enormous this thing. As you know, it has very minimal power consumption. It creates very low carbon footprint, consumes very little power. And what did India do? A policy innovation. They did demand aggregation, basically brought down the cost from $7 to $1 for 9W bulb. And from 2% to 88%, 2% penetration to 88%, fastest in the world, they did it in 7 years. So the point is, even when somebody else does the technological innovation, you can do a policy innovation and bring such a huge benefit to the country. I must congratulate our government for doing such a bold thing. That was a pole vault. It was not a leapfrog. We didn't take 20 years. We did it in such a short time. Now, the digital business model innovation, because there is a lot of digital community here in the attendance. So I must say there are different models, like there is a cost model, which Google, Amazon, etc. use, the bias aggregation that I mentioned about, reverse auctions and so on. There's an experience model, okay? And there is a platform model as, including crowdsourcing and digital marketplace and so on and so forth. So you must learn to integrate these. That's extremely important. And what happens if you fail the assured test? We have done the analysis that since 2000, 52% of Fortune 500 companies are either gone bankrupt or been acquired because they failed the assured innovation test. Similarly, about 50% of S&P 500 companies will be replaced over the next 10 years as they fail the assured test. And if you just see the average tenure of companies of S&P 500 will shrink from current 20 years to just 12 years by 2027 if they find it difficult. So this assured matrix is extremely important. So in the book, if you read it, you will find that we have shown at a point in time how there were successful companies like Napster, BlackBerry, Palm Pilot, etc. And this is the framework: affordability, scalability, sustainability, user-friendly, rapid excellence. And a positive tick mark means they succeeded in that. A negative one means they failed in that. So let us take this case. For example, if you look at Napster. Napster was free download of music. So was it affordable? Yes, of course. Anything that is free is affordable. Was it distinctive? Yes, it was a great idea. Excellent? Yes, you could get high quality music. Was it rapid? Of course it was. And universal? Yes, it had. And was it scalable? Yes, it had 80 million users. And still it doesn't exist today. Why? Because it was not sustainable. Sustainable because the society has to accept that. And Society of Musicians said that we have a copyright, you just can't take it and give it free. And Napster has vanished. This is the importance of the assured framework. You look at Google Glass, they are supposed to be the most innovative company. Does it exist today? It doesn't. Why? It was distinctive, it was excellent, amazing idea. It was not affordable. It would cost several $1,000s. It was not universal user-friendly because when you are wearing Google Glass, you do not know what you are doing, whether you are recording what you are saying. If you enter a film theater, were you recording the film, etc., and so on. So all these other parameters it failed. In the book, we show quite clearly how they failed, and it's gone. I'm giving you these two cases just to illustrate the point of such a framework, and we must learn to use it. The most important part is sustainable. First of all, it is economical. You can't depend upon government subsidies. Government change and the subsidy change. It has to be a robust business model. The second is environmental. Anything that is not green will vanish. Green growth is the only growth that we have to aim at. The third is societal. Like I said, society doesn't accept. Like society doesn't accept GM foods. Society doesn't accept nuclear energy. Society doesn't accept onshore winds, and so on and so forth. But the most important part now is resilient. What does resilience mean? It means that even when the pandemic comes, even when economic meltdowns come, you still stand tall. You don't fall down. That's the most important commodity. And there are 10 tenets of becoming crisis resilient, which I proposed. The first is adaptability. How quickly, when things change, how quickly you can adjust and adapt. Secondly, the agility, the speed with which you adapt. You can't take 6 years. You can't even take 6 months. Within 6 days, can you do that? Then resilience thinking. When you build systems, for example, or institutions, how do you make sure that they will remain resilient? You have to look at all the shocks that will come in the future because of political interference, because of scarcity of funds, because of leaders going crazy, or because of other systems changing, etc. How do you make sure that it is resilient and lasts for hundreds of years? Then scenario-based planning. You should be able to assess the scenario. It has to be purpose-driven. जर आपण मराठीमध्ये ध्रुवतारा म्हणतो, एक नॉर्थ स्टार. आपलं पर्पज काय? There has to be purpose, perseverance, and passion. Platformization is the next. You have to be digital ready. Nowadays, by the way, and I'm very happy about this conference that you are looking at the smart digital world that is on the anvil, because if you are not, you will not survive. Then foster self-disruption, as somebody says, before my computer replaces my products, I must replace myself. Then climate conscious. I already emphasized that. And this is the key word, autonomous innovation. Now, these are the 10 tenets to become crisis resilient. And I won't have time to sort of talk about this, but those of you who are interested, I gave this lecture on behalf of National Center of Quality Management on 10 tenets of achieving resilience through excellence in uncertain times, because everybody is worried about how do you handle it in uncertain times. And this is available, by the way, on the web. If you just click this, you will get it. So those of you who are interested can have a look at it. I'll just give you one example of resilient thinking because I talked about Dhirubhai Ambani. It's very interesting. When he was building the refinery, they asked him what specification you would like the refinery to be built. And he said, design my refinery that can handle every type of crude, from the dirtiest to the finest. But they said, no such refinery has been built. He said, that doesn't matter. I want my refinery to be like that. And he said, I had dreams of starting a company like Burma Shell. Forget about it. Reliance has overtaken Exxon to become world's #2 energy firm. All right. So therefore, when you do the design itself, that design thinking that you have has to be tailored for this. This is one example. Then platformization, particularly for this community, I don't have to mention to you what platforms are. And moving from platforms to products, I mean, if you can see 2009 versus 2019, here you see PetroChina, ExxonMobil, Microsoft, ICBC China, BHP Billiton, they were the top 5. They all vanished. And it is Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Alphabet, Facebook, all platform-based companies. Within 10 years, this change has taken place. So you can see how, for example, Jio as a platform company jumped 47 places in 3 months to 51st most valued company. That was a pole vault that was possible. And of course, digital ready is very important. Adoption of digital technologies, end-to-end digitization, it's not an option, it's a must. And you can quite clearly see here the accelerating end-to-end digitalization in terms of customer experience, productivity, flexibility. And you can see the dramatic shifts, for example, in productivity, the kind of shifts that you are able to achieve, or lead time reduction, or speed to market reduction, etc., etc. You have to also have the self-optimizing characteristics like self-learning, that means utilizing system data for accurate prediction, self-adapting, like reacting in real time to changing conditions, and detecting anomalies and trigger mitigation. Digital twin is helping in building resilient operations now, whether it is oil, gas, renewable energy, transportation, manufacturing. And in fact, within Reliance, there is a digital twin for this 4,000-kilometer pipeline, which processes 1.3 million barrels of oil, and GE has developed the digital twins. And I'm very happy to see the great expertise that our own TCS has developed in building these digital twins. I'm quite sure that they will become world leader sooner rather than later. I move on to something next. What happens? Go back to pole vaulting. What are you doing? You are taking a big pole. There is a bar. And what you are doing is that you are running towards the bar. And as you are running, you are accelerating. You are increasing your velocity. Now, supposing while you are accelerating, suddenly a bump comes. Suddenly some hindrance comes. What happens? You stop. And again you go back. Because that momentum that you require to go is something is a must. And you lose that. And what are the speed breakers? First is complacency. Many times we are doing good business, we say, "Arey, kya hoga? Kuch nahi." And you have seen that. Like, for example, Eastman Kodak, they had those films. And young people will not know that because they are all in digital cameras. But when the digital cameras were not there, in my time, you will remember, and I'm sure our joint secretary will remember that we used to have those films and we would process and it will take 7 days and all that, etc. So Eastman Kodak was doing very well. And they had discovered digital camera. But they were complacent. They say, "Kuch nahi hoga." And what happened? They were destroyed, as you can see, because digital camera came in. Then cynicism. If somebody does something, kuch nahi. Yeah, I mean, we will survive. Risk aversion. This is the worst thing, by the way. We don't want to take risks. There are vested interests also which come in the way. Bureaucracy. This is the worst killer, by the way. All right. And then restrictive regulations. Many times we have something, but you can't basically move because the regulations are tough. And there are policy limitations, like I give the example So therefore, These are the speed breakers that we must know. Some of them are under your control, like complacency, cynicism, risk aversion. But some of them are not under your control, like vested interests or regulations, etc. Okay, policy. And therefore, there are internal factors, there are external factors, and you have to deal with both. Then speed breakers due to risk-averse mindsets, by the way, because all great breakthroughs, pole vaults take place because you've got great ideas. But if you have great ideas and you start a discussion, the common experience, the first thing will be too risky. We can't. Second will be suppose it fails. There is always this thing about failure. That's why I tell my young people whenever I'm addressing them, look at fail, F-A-I-L, as first attempt in learning. First attempt in learning. Your best guru is your last mistake, as long as you are able to learn from it. So, suppose it fails, impossible, never done before. What do you mean? Do you think 20 years ago I could have interacted with you like what I'm doing now? But because it has not been done, you say it can't be done. Then somebody has tried it already, and supposing you are sophisticated English, you are scared, but you don't want to show it, you say, let me play devil's advocate, but it means I'm scared. So my suggestion to you is that in any company that you are working in or that you are leading, make sure that when you are discussing a new idea, put a board outside that these 5 the sort of phrases are absolutely banned, and anybody who uses it goes out of the board. Because unless we do that, we can't really sort of take risk. Also, if you look at different things, we have to also realize that in the assured matrix, assured is not static, but a dynamic matrix, and it changes with time, and it is fully quantifiable. In fact, now the startups have started using that. In fact, there are some incubators where they have T-shirts where they ask, "Are you sure you are assured today?" And which is a good thing. Assured matrix for enterprises, because we have a lot of enterprise people here. Each of these parameters, by the way, has a definition and the key parameters which actually measure it. And these have to be continuously tracked and see whether you remain assured or not. In fact, the Bombay Management Association, I chaired their committee for the selection this year, and they have now created a BMA Assured Enterprise of the Year. And this assured matrix has been used for it. And the first year's winner was Byju's. Of course, Byju's is doing very well, as we all know. So I'm very happy to see that this is now spreading all across. First of all, the assured matrix is being used by research institutes while selecting technology evaluation as a decision support matrix and so on. Startups are using it. Then small, medium enterprises have begun to use it. Corporates are using it. On the other day, I was very happy to hear my friend Dinanath saying in our PIC, the Pune cluster meeting, that TCS is actually using it. Then the investors are using it. The innovation accelerators are using it. Government department. In fact, by the way, I started this when our Prime Minister created talked about Swachh Bharat. I remember Shri Nitin Gadkari was the Minister for Drinking Water and Sanitation, and he asked me to chair the committee to select the technologies. Okay, and those selecting of technologies, I always like to do it very objectively. No subjectivity should come at all, and therefore we use the assured matrix. So if you go on their website and if you want to submit something to them, you will have to fulfill the assured matrix, by the way, and they have sort of, and it is spreading now to the other. Then industry associations are using it for innovation benchmarking as well as awards, and these public procurement policies, etc., are going structured around. I think the point that I'm trying to make is that this assured framework is critical, not only in looking at technologies, but beyond technology. Not looking at the businesses, but beyond businesses. Finally, we must have a sobering thought. We can't build sustainable business in an unsustainable society. And when do unsustainable societies come? They come due to social disharmony. when people are unsatisfied. And why does that happen? It happens due to rising income inequalities. As you can see in the pandemic, in 100 days, there were 100 million people who moved from poverty to extreme poverty. Poverty to extreme poverty and inequalities during pandemic. And you have seen our migrant laborers walking kilometers, actually, lakhs of them, and so on and so forth. So lives were destroyed, livelihoods were destroyed. Okay, people went jobless. So therefore, there will be a social disharmony due to rising income inequality. And rising inequality will lead to access inequality. You don't have access to health, you don't have access to education. Like, for example, today we talk about 1.6 billion children who went out of school in 100 days, right? And then we say online learning is the way, right? But then 1/3 of them don't have access to devices. They don't have access to connectivity. So how would they have access to education? So rising inequality leading to access inequality. So can we create access equality despite income inequality? Oh, that would look rather impossible. How can the poor and the rich have that? But I showed to you the photograph of a poor lady from the slum as well as that sophisticated lady driving a Mercedes. Both of them have it. So if you have done it in mobile, can we do it in education? Can we do it in health? Can we do it? That is the issue. And the answer is yes, we can. And through what I call as the magic of Gandhian engineering. Now, you would have heard computer engineering, mechanical engineering, electrical engineering. You would not have heard about Gandhian engineering. All right? Where did this term come from? This was the day, this was the time. In Canberra in 2008, I was giving this ATSC Innovation Forum lecture. I was elected to the Australian Academy. And I happened to be the first Indian from India to have been elected to that academy. So I said they don't know enough about India because there are 100 people who are better than me. They should have made them And therefore, when they asked me to talk about innovation, I talked about Gandhian engineering. And that Gandhian engineering was getting more from less for more people, not just for more profit. Why? How did it come about? Mahatma Gandhi had said that I would prize every invention of science made for the benefit for all. That is for more and more and more people. But he had also said that earth provides enough to satisfy every man's need, but not every man's greed. That means you get more from less. That means use your resources in such a way that you get more from it so that you can preserve. By using less resource, you are preserving some resource for your children, for your great-grandchildren, their great-grandchildren, and so on. So if you combine the two, then it becomes more from less for more. And Gandhian engineering MLM mantra, that started spreading around the world. I talked about it in 2008. In 2010, C.K. Prahlad, one of the greatest thought leaders that India has had, he and I wrote a paper, Innovation's Holy Grail. If you can get more from less for more, there is nothing like it. And I'm very proud to say this paper appeared in Harvard Business Review, and this finds place in the 10 must-read papers in innovation that have been shortlisted. And amazingly, the World Economic Forum, just 6 months after we wrote the paper, had a special session on more from less for more. Why? Because they realized that with rising inequalities and rising discontent in the society, the correct way to go is getting more from less for more. And then this particular lecture, TED lecture, is now in 23 languages that I gave. And then once I take on something, I don't leave it. So, I gave the original lecture in Canberra, Melbourne. And then I remember I was invited to speak in Washington, in World Bank and other places. And there we created a $55 million inclusive innovation project for Vietnam and then for other countries. Then I spoke in Asian Development Bank because you have to do acupuncture. You have to touch points by which you can create great impact, And they started these programs. Then Brussels, Cambridge, London, Paris. I remember I was invited to speak in Brussels, European Commission. I talked there, told them the importance of this. That got integrated in 2020. Then in Beijing, it's interesting, Chinese are way ahead of us. But in inclusive innovation, in getting more from less for more, they felt that we are ahead of them. And I remember I went there as a senior consultant for World Bank. talking there. Then in Europe, several other places, Japan last year, Colombo, in South Africa, and finally in Colombo in the WITRO, the World Association of Industrial Technology Research Organization. So this word has spread around the world. Then you will say, you are spreading the word, but what are you doing yourself? And that is where I'm thankful to our Honorable Joint Secretary for mentioning this Anjani Mashelkar Foundation and Anjani Mashelkar Award. And that is powered by Ghanaian Engineering. It started 10 years ago. This is the 10th year of the award. And it rests on honoring people. It's a small award, by the way, just 1 lakh. But if you meet the criteria of affordability, accessibility, adaptability, and not best practice, next practice, then you get that award. Let me just give you a small illustration. Like one went to Mihir Shah. He created this eye-breast cancer screening. It is a low tactile sensor that measures tissue stiffness. And it is ultra-portable, accurate, minimal training, wireless, cloud-connected, instant results. And it is going now to 25 countries. For over 500 million women will be basically tested. Remember the assured framework. Affordable, yes, $1. Scalable, yes, 500 million people. Sustainable, yes, he is making good business. User-friendly, yes, it is a very easy tactile sensor. Rapid, yes, he has moved very fast. Excellence in terms of technology, it has a high technology, by the way. And distinctive, yes, he has 16 US patents. Assured framework, all right? And see the difference he is making, but helping the poor. There is another one, Rahul Rastogi. This is Sanket ECG design. He created one, which is Sanket 1.0, which you can see here. This is a personal 12-lead ECG event monitor. It is portable. And basically, now he has created a new version, which looks like this. Why was this? You know, his father had a heart challenge, and therefore he had to take him to the hospital. And what would they do? They would put him like this. This is a Western picture, but it's the same thing. And then take that ECG. And he had to drive a few kilometers to take him to the hospital. He said, why can't I create something which is entirely portable, which I can touch? And I have it here with me just to illustrate. This is Sanket, by the way. And I'll show you how it works. It's very easy. You can go on the Amazon and get it for 250 rupees. So this is how it looks like. Okay. Now you have these two sensors here. You put your two thumbs like this for just 15 seconds. Then your the sensor here, this is your heart. 15 second, 15 second, 15 second. And below the heart, 15 second, 15 second, 15 second. Okay. And if you have downloaded an app called Sanket, then it straight away goes to the smartphone. Okay. What it means is that if there is a woman in a rural village, in the middle of the night she has heart pain, you don't have to put her in a bullock cart or put her on a scooter or a motorcycle or a jeep. You can do this within 3 minutes. And the best doctor in Pune can tell you within 5 minutes as to what the ECG looks like and what she needs to do. This is making high technology work for the poor. This is the object of Anjani Mashelkar Inclusive Innovation Award. Both the award that you saw, $1 breast cancer, and this is just 5 rupees ECG. But the way they are operated, basically, in both cases, tells you how they work actually for the poor. Now, I'd like to end by giving you a news that I saw on 15 January 2021. And it was a very sad news. What was that? The sad news was the situation here is dire. Every minute, 10 people test positive for COVID-19. Every 8 minutes, someone dies. Ambulances circle for hours, unable to find ERs that can emergency rooms that can accept patients. Hospitals are running out of oxygen. ICU capacity is zero. Patients lie in hallways and tents. I want to ask you, if I was there live, I would have asked the audience as to where do you think this must be happening? You would think it is happening in Africa or some poor village in India or somewhere in developing country. No. Where do you think this is happening? Los Angeles, 15 January. Can you just imagine that? And I'm very proud to say that the 2020 Anjani Mashelkar Inclusive Innovation Awardee has a solution for this US problem. Why has he done? You don't have a ICU bed, no, doesn't matter. He has created what is called as a DOSI. It's a continuous contact-free vitals monitor with remote monitoring capabilities. So here is a bed, and you slip it under the bed, actually. Okay? And it is 20x cheaper than products used in ICU. No maintenance, consumables, etc. So you place your device under the mattress, connect to SpO2, like you see here, the oxygen thermometer, connect to the internet and monitor remotely. Okay? What does it mean? It means that any bed that you have, within 5 minutes you can convert it into an ICU measurement. Then you would say, oh, but how accurate it is? The medical accuracy is 98.4%. Can you just believe it? Can you just believe how transformative this technology is? It works for the poor, but it works also for Los Angeles, those poor people who don't have access to ICU. So I think this is the main thing. I think finally I would like to say, I want to applaud our Honorable Prime Minister for giving us this mandate of creating Atmanirbhar Bharat, self-reliant India. But we must do this Atmanirbhar Bharat with Atmavishwas and Atma-Samman and that self-confidence. And what gives me that self-confidence? That self-confidence is given by the kind of innovation that I was able to project to you through the Anjani Mashelkar Awardee. The kind of innovation that India is able to do practically every day. So it is not like our Prime Minister says, make in India for the world. Many of these products that I described are now actually going into the world. It is entirely possible. That is the self-confidence, confident India. With Atma Vishwas, create this new Atmanirbhar Bharat. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for enlightening us on the magic of achieving high aspiration with assured innovation success. I now invite Dr. P.B. Mane to propose vote of thanks.
A very good morning to one and all present for this inaugural function. On behalf of the conference committee, also our society management members, first I would like to take this opportunity to thank our today's honorable chief guest, Dr. Mashalkar sir, for being present for this inauguration and really giving us a dose of what innovation should be. Because a very brief lecture which you gave, sir, I hope surely has enlightened all the participants who have gathered. And on behalf of all my teachers, I would like to assure you that we will be using your assured framework to bring in quality education. So this is what I would like to assure you. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank Dinanath Kolkar for making it possible for us to have our today's chief guest. Along with, I would also like to thank the IEEE chair, Dr. Girish Khilare, vice chair, Jagdish Chaudhary, secretary of Pune section, Dr. Neha Sharma, and all the other IEEE members who have been critical in seeing to it that this conference, as of last year, has been a great success, because the number of papers which we have got truly proves that yes, the participants do believe that the conference which we have been organizing is really up to the mark, and the papers which have been selected are of great quality. And I hope that we'll be sending you, sir, the book of abstract. Probably you'll feel that yes, the papers which we have selected are of real quality, and probably most of them may be of bringing in some innovations which may be of use to the society as a whole. Then I would also like to take this opportunity to thank our Honorable Secretary, Shri Malajara Chhatrapati, for always supporting the activities which lead to quality education. I would also like to thank our Honorable Joint Secretary who has been with us always for all the activities we have been doing. I would also like to thank our Treasurer Ajay Patil Sahib, then our Managing Chairman Managing Committee Sri Bhagwan Rao Salunke, Vishwasrao Patil, the Chairman Governing Body, and all the honorable members of the society for always supporting all the activities carried out by the institute. Next, coming to the very important thing is the entire team who has been working for making this conference a great success. I would like to first thank the organizing chair, Dr. Limkar, and Dr. Mandar Khurjekar to seeing to it that all the things which were right from filling the ITEX form till the today's function have gone very smoothly. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank the TPC chair, Dr. Vinayak Bairagi and Rakesh Dumare, and all the other committee chairs who have been constantly working. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank the advisory committee, the technical program committee, all the reviewers who have reviewed all the papers, and all the session chairs who will be judging all the papers. And last but not the least, I would also like to thank all our sponsors. Just to mention our academic partner, I would also like to take this opportunity to thank Athlon Institute of Technology Ireland, Special Innovative Research Group Egypt, and Muscat College, Sultanate of Oman for partnering with us and contributing in this conference. And also all the teachers and non-teaching staff who have contributed to make this conference a success. So once again, I would like to thank our Honorable Chief Guest, Dr. Mashalkar, for making himself available for this inauguration function. So thank you very much, and thank you all for gathering here for the inaugural function. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I request you all to stand in honor of our national anthem. Thank you. Now I declare the conference is open.
Om Namah Shivaya, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Doctor, sir.